guys, this is your warning. We do post up spoilers. At times we're relatively offensive. We use vulgar language. So if you think that any of those are gonna offend you in any way, shape, or form, take your step back right now. Cause buddy, this is not the place for you. Anywho, have fun listening to us, and yeah, this has been your final warning.
We are not the best, but we are indicative of the sickness that is the rest. We are Cinematic Anarchy. Thank you for sitting in and tuning in and doing whatever it is you did with the dial or end of the button. There's no dial for a podcast, so I'm going to shut up. I am Chris.
I am Piper.
And today we're going to be sitting down and talking about Part 2 and Part 3 of Resident Evil Apocalypse and Resident Evil Extinction, because you can't call them Part 2 and Part 3, because if you look it up that way, you just end up with video games.
Yes, you do.
So...
Unless you type in, like, Resident Evil 2 movie and Resident Evil 3 movie.
Right, exactly. Piper, how you been doing?
I'm alive. I work like fuck.
I do too. I just got a little promotion. So,
Yay, you!
Not a podcasting promotion, just a promotion within my regular 9 to 5 gig. So
I need a promotion away from my job.
Right. Well, in the meantime, you have a little bit of time to de-stress here and on TikTok and Twitch and other places that you do your thing, right?
Yes. Like after this, I will be doing some TikToking, and then after that, I will be doing some Twitching.
I have noticed something. I go out in public a lot.
Okay.
That's a weird way to lead into what my thought was. I realize right now. Out in public, I've had people tell me that I have a voice for radio. However, I've listened to our podcast just a little bit lately, and for some reason, when I get really excited and I talk fast and I talk at length about something, my voice will slowly get higher and I'll sound really... I have a high-pitched voice when I'm really excited about something and I'm talking at length.
You do?
I do. A little laugh from last... Nope.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to make that a permanent thing on the podcast. I know I did it the last episode.
Somebody else just did something like last night, and they also sounded like Winnie the Pooh. No, the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Pillsbury Doughboy, not Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, somebody else did something that was Winnie the Pooh. They were like, think.
You poke Winnie the Pooh and he's like, oh, bother. You know, that's...
I'd love some honey.
Why are you poking me in the rumbly-tumbly? You know?
Oh, that could go so many ways.
Good ways and bad ways. That being said. Yeah, no, I have had a decent day, a decent week, got the little promotion, and I just got home from watching Smile 2 in the theater.
No, I was wondering what took you so long to get home.
Well, Smile 2, a little bit of shopping. You know, you have to get food for the rest of the week so that you don't end up having to shop 3 or 4 separate times.
I tried to take a nap again, and everybody started calling and messaging again. I'm just like, fuck it.
I'm forgetful, honestly. If I had it my way, I would go out and just shop for whatever meal that I need every single time. Like, oh, it's breakfast. Let me go and shop for that. Or I'll just go to McDonald's or whatever. And thankfully, I have people that remind me, no, we have to shop in bulk. Don't do it one meal at a time.
See, I'm one of those people. I'd rather just shop in bulk and have what I need and then not have to go to McDonald's or Burger King. Then again, I've never liked Burger King even before I started working there.
I'm just bad about it. I have that ADHD thing where, like, you buy food and then you buy more food and the food that you bought the last time gets pushed to the back. And then you're just kind of rotating new food in and the old food gets pushed to the back. And then one day you're looking at your fridge, you're looking at your cabinets and you're going, I know about 3 layers back, there's some nasty shit. We got to pull this stuff out of here. There's something growing other things back there.
Oh, God, your mushrooms are growing mushrooms.
Right? It's a Resident Evil experiment in my refrigerator. Okay.
Sir, we do not need umbrella in your refrigerator.
No, but we definitely have the T-virus in there somewhere.
Ew, mommy. And I thought you wanted me to come and hang out and like stay there for a bit to go see Boston or wherever it is.
Yeah, we're trying to get you to come
Salem.
up here. Come visit us. There's Boston, There's Salem.
There's Boston.
I haven't been able to find a live-in housekeeper. We may keep you. No.
I'm gonna have to warn my man. I'm sorry, babe. I went to go visit my friends just to go see Salem around Halloween because I'm all witchy and shit. And then they kept me. They wouldn't let me go. They're shackles.
I got shackles on my ankle. It lets me go just far enough to clean the fridge. That's about it. And
It lets me go only around the house, like just from one door to the other, so that I can make sure everything's dusted.
something in the fucking fridge bit me, and they keep calling me Alice now.
Oh God.
No.
Okay, speaking of that, I'm just gonna say this out loud. She could have got paid all of her money for every movie just for saying, "My name is Alice," after the first movie.
Yeah. I don't. That's one of the things that I'm not really liking is that they keep leading into these films with some kind of monologue, an Alice monologue, each and every
An
time.
Alice monologue, and she always sounds like she needs a lozenge. Or
Alice.
17.
I'm Alice, and there was something that happened, and now it's happened again. And
There's something that happened. It got worse. The next movie, it got a lot worse. The next movie, it's more worse.
We thought it was much, much better. Now it's even worse than it was. Yeah,
it's even worse, sir.
Okay. Honestly, Mila is the only watchable part of some of these movies.
I wouldn't say that. I would not say that.
I said some, not all.
I'm about to say, since we're going to do these in order, Resident Evil Apocalypse, Sienna Gilroy was a good Jill.
Okay, sure. We'll say that. This is probably one of the lowest rated Resident Evil films.
But for me, it's like actually one of the best of the Resident Evil films.
Okay. Why? Why is this the best for you?
I think because for a lot of it, it's very true to the third game. It's basically the third game in live action. I mean, there are parts I don't like, but I'll get that when we actually get further into the movie.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I don't want to sit there and just jump all out of order. I mean, if I was to give a synopsis, Umbrella reopens the hive, the virus gets out, infects Raccoon City, and then you've got a group of survivors, including Alice from the first movie, who's been infected with the T-virus herself, has become superhuman, and they must escape Umbrella, zombies, and Nemesis.
This is where they slowly start moving away. Like, this is still a zombie movie.
Yeah.
By the next movie, they slowly start moving away from zombies.
I wouldn't say that, because they still have zombies in the next one.
They still have zombies, yes. But I feel like you would have had basically the same story without the zombies attached.
Well,
basically.
No. Because the whole... We're jumping around.
We're jumping around. We're already on Extinction. We're still talking about
Apocalypse.
So I had trouble with this movie. I really did. There were parts that I really liked.
Please tell me those parts were with LJ, because Mike Epps is hilarious.
Okay, Mike Epps is absolutely... Okay, I was saying that Mila was the only watchable part of some of these movies. His humor was great.
Yes.
But ultimately it felt a little out of place in what should have been a very tense zombie film.
For me, I think it felt in place, because if you think about the human psyche, the thing that people are going to rely on to actually survive something is whatever they fell back on whenever they were in nervous situations or anything else uncomfortable to get through it.
Like, I felt like he felt like Chandler in the zombie apocalypse. Just all the sarcastic stuff and Grand Theft Auto, that
and then
whole thing.
And then he was still mesmerized by zombie titties. Big ass, implanted, I'm sorry, some people don't like the word implants, augmented zombie titties.
They were implanted.
I know that, but some people want to be all grr, and they're like, it's a breast augmentation. I mean, when I get mine, I'm going to be like, oh no, bitch, they were implanted. I got big boobalooba now.
I get that they took your original breasts and they made them into a different kind of breasts. However, did they implant something to do that?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
It's an implant.
I don't know. I was asleep.
I can call a reduction more an augmentation than I could an
Because
actual
you're not
implant.
implanting anything?
Right. You're not putting anything in, you're taking things out. You're reshaping it in a different way.
Sucking out all that mayonnaise.
It's not an augmentation. It's just a reshaping of the original hardware.
I like that. Reshaping of the original hardware.
Right, exactly. Because it's not technically, you're not calling it an implant. There is a sort of hardware that goes into it. Whatever they're using now, I don't think they use silicone anymore, do they? They use something else.
Yeah, they still use silicone and saline.
Okay, there was something that was like toxic, like when they were using like implants.
Silicone is toxic if it ruptures because you'll get silicone poisoning. That's why I'm opting to try to go get saline because if mine ruptured, then I'll just have high blood pressure for a bit.
All right, so that's the lesson for you. If you're into impact play, maybe the saline ones are not really what you want.
Why?
I mean, come on. Impact play.
Saline is the one that won't poison you.
No, did I say saline? I meant silicone,
you did.
Right? I said saline. Oh dear. Well, I
love how we've gone from Resident Evil and talking about zombie titties just to full on speaking about implants. What to get, what not to get.
Yeah, well, I mean, you sat down with me and decided to talk about tits, and you think I'm not going to go off on a tangent? You're kidding yourself.
I wouldn't know. I don't know how men feel about tits. I'm still growing mine.
I'm trying to reduce mine a little bit.
It's like hormones. They've done some work, but I need them to do more.
I feel like I don't have enough support, but now that I'm losing a little bit weight, I'm good.
Get a bra. You'll have all the support you need.
For guys, it goes away from the tits first.
Yeah. And everybody, it goes away from the belly last.
Right, yeah, my belly, I don't know. I mean, my legs are getting smaller, my arms are getting smaller.
Well, it's like, I've lost 120 pounds, and people still be like, so when's your baby due? And I almost want to be like, would you like to feel its arm? It's poking out.
I got nothing to say there. Anyway. Resident Evil?
Right.
Apocalypse?
We were speaking people in the movie. Like, I do love Sienna Gilroy as Jill. I mean, she actually took the time to play the game with her, I think it was with her brother. And okay. She actually studied the way Jill would talk, the way she would act, and the way she got a little girly and impatient if you left her standing there. Like she'd start tapping her gun against her leg and poke her hip out.
I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of trouble with a lot of this movie. I think that it just felt a little too disjointed for me. There were definitely some good moments in the film, things that I enjoyed.
Disjointed?
But, well, while they did try to stick with a lot of the stuff from the second film?
The third game?
The second game, yeah.
The third game.
It was for the third game? Nemesis
the second game was, the second game was kind of just thrown out. Because we have Claire Redfield in the second game. We have Jill Valentine in the third. Or we had Claire and Leon in the second game.
I think I told you this shortly before we started. I haven't played Resident Evil games since I had the original Nintendo. So
it didn't come out for the original Nintendo.
I swear it did.
I promise you it did not.
You promise me?
There was a game.
Look this up right now.
There was a game that was Resident Evil-like that Resident Evil was based off of that I think was on the original Nintendo. Resident Evil did not come out until PlayStation days in 1997, 98.
I could have sworn there were like the original. Nope. I'm thinking of something else.
Yes, there was a game that was like Resident Evil on the original Nintendo, and it's one of the games that Resident Evil was based off of later.
Am I mixing up my PlayStation 1 with like pixelized Nintendo games?
Apparently.
Fuck. All right.
Like, so, how can you mix those up? I mean, let's think about it. PlayStation 1, Cone Titty Laura.
All right. So let me be frank with you. I had the Nintendo. It's in the back of my head.
Uh-huh.
I remember renting the PS1 when I got my first job. So like
I
around the
didn't know you
time that I
could
got
do
my
that.
used to be able to like rent VCRs, DVD players, game systems. This is in the heyday of Blockbuster and all that other stuff, and when we had mom and pop rental stores.
Yeah, but
So
still, I didn't know you could rent game systems.
I'm mixing up my game systems mainly because of the fact that outside of maybe the past 5 to 10 years, I didn't play a lot of video games. I
Oh.
played them a bit back then, and my memory of the time back then, it's shitty. I had a lot of horrible crap going on. I've talked about on the podcast over the years. It's
Ah.
so my memory of past events not the best. So me mixing up Nintendo as a Resident Evil game, or I should say Resident Evil game on Nintendo,
Yes,
and
Nintendo is a Resident Evil game.
Nintendo is a Resident Evil game.
Resident Evil is the system.
That's the next movie in the line. There is Resident Evil Nintendo.
But I
Nintendo
mean,
Apocalypse.
the funny thing is that,
Is that your phone again?
Chris, I am a shift lead.
I know you're a shift lead. You can't put it on buzz or something.
If I put it on buzz, I may not see it because I cannot hear with this.
Gonna kill you. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let it ring.
It's like,
Do what you
I
need
have
to.
a job. Don't worry, I just put it on buzz for you.
I'm also very, very ditzy in my older age, so I'm mixing up words. I'm making myself sound a little bit cognitively impaired, like I'd been drinking a little bit, and I haven't. I haven't been.
I can't wait until I'm drinking in a couple weeks on my birthday.
I should be having a drink tonight. A celebratory
I should be having
drink.
17, but I gotta work in the morning.
Oh, okay. Well, go for it. Have fun.
Gotta
Go
work
for
in the
it.
morning. No.
I mean, you'll be working with a headache, but you'll be working.
My job is enough of a headache. I don't need to work with one.
No? Okay.
No.
I would.
Customers are evil. I had to cuss one out today. Like, me and him are literally cussing across the store while I'm trying to catch up on stuff.
Okay, so getting back to my original point before I went off on an ADHD tangent, tripped over my tongue, accused Nintendo of being a game underneath the Resident Evil. Eagle?
You should stop while you're still behind.
Damn it. What is wrong with me today?
Maybe it's just sniffles.
It's not the hay fever. It has nothing to do with that. There is something wrong with my brain. All right,
But we
next
already knew
episode, Chris is going to the doctor's office to have himself checked for Alzheimer's or something.
Dementia.
Yes, okay. Accused Nintendo of being a video game under the Resident Evil. Again. Evil.
You did it again.
Fuck.
That's even more funny because I'm like, is it gonna happen? Is it gonna happen?
Why? Resident Evil flag. Resident Evil flag. Resident. It's not even a tongue twister.
Resident Evil flag.
I've never even seen a Resident Eagle. I don't even know what that would be.
I guess one that's at a zoo. There would be
Actually,
a resident there.
there is an eagle that kind of perches in a tree off the river down the street here, but that's besides the point. So, I was just trying to say that while they did stick with a lot of the scenes sort of straight out of the video games,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the story itself, it just felt a little disjointed for me, like it was missing. Maybe if I saw the director's cut of the film, it might add a little bit to it that would make me feel like cuts from certain scene to certain scenes wouldn't feel sort of like they're jumping the story a little bit.
I don't see where you're getting that from but then again, I've watched on Blu-ray, so I don't know if all that stuff's already added back in there. My friend got me all 6 films, like in a Blu-ray edition, whatever.
Yeah,
so it could have everything in there.
Did you get the extended editions or the original editions?
I don't have the boxes anymore, so I don't know.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you might have you might be watching something I'm not watching.
I mean, that's possible. It's like But I mean, like, I don't see, even when I was watching the original, like when I got them on DVD, like when they first came out, like there was nothing disjointed for me. It's like because they brought Alice out onto the streets of Raccoon City, I could see why they skipped the second game because it basically takes place in nothing but a lab and a police station. Resident Evil 3 took place in the seat. I mean, in the
In the
seats,
sea?
in the seats, in the city streets.
See, now you're
So
doing what I'm doing. I'm infecting you with something.
yeah, that T virus.
Yeah, I apologize about that. I will try.
I didn't know it could go digital.
It's the T virus. It can also affect you verbally.
Mother F.
Managed to pass it through the headphones here.
Mother F.
Yeah. Okay.
But like,
I'm
there
glad
are some gripes.
I've got plenty of gripes. I'm just
ahead.
glad they got rid of Matt. I like Nemesis.
I have one complaint about Nemesis.
Okay, go ahead.
Him becoming a good guy in the end, like finding his humanity.
Okay, yeah,
because I mean, hell, like I played Resident Evil 3. I remember it scared the shit out of me every time he banged out of a room somewhere that I was not expecting him, and so it's like, like you're always terrified of him. It's like all of a sudden he's good. No.
Okay, they gave him a redemption arc because obviously they're not going to use him again.
I mean, I got that, but like I get what they did. Doesn't mean I have to like it.
All right. Now I like Nemesis. You don't like Nemesis, so you have
didn't say I don't like Nemesis. Like
you don't like that he became a good guy at the end.
Right. I don't like the whole redemption arc. I mean, yeah, it was kind of cool. Like, I mean, hell, there's a scene where Alice is running through. They filmed in Toronto, but like they were running through she's running through and the helicopter was shooting her through glass, shooting at her. Right. Then she comes out and like there's 3 guards or whatever, and she drops the gun and then grabs it and shoots it.
Like right. When she drops it on the floor and she falls to the ground to the side, right. Grabs it and shoots it. That's like a frame frame.
From Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that I've seen. I think mostly in not replays from the movie, but like behind the scenes stuff that they showed like side by side that is sort of like a it's almost dead on exactly like the image in the game. Mm-hmm. Or the cut scene, I should say.
Well, hell, I mean, I have to give all the actors prop in this movie. I mean, they decided to like so that they could have Jill in her classic costume, that they were going to say there was like a heat wave in Raccoon City, although it was fall or winter in Toronto when they were filming. Sienna Gilroy was cold. She was the one wearing the least amount of clothes. A mini skirt and a tube top. It's like I think the only thing that kept her warm was her boots.
I mean, it kind of fits with the outfit that she wore in the game too, but still.
Well, that's why they said there was a heat wave in Raccoon City so that they could actually put Jill in her boots, like in her tube top and miniskirt.
I think I've only really have one problem with one actor's acting in the entire movie.
Please tell me it's the bitch who plays Terry.
No, it's not the bitch who plays Terry. It's Zach Ward. Nikolai.
You're bitching about his accent?
His attempt at an accent, because he goes in and out of it.
But the bad thing is that Nikolai in the game didn't have an accent.
It's not even that. I mean, if he could have committed fully to the accent, it was sort of an accident, yes, but
I've got this beach. Shit.
It was a horrible attempt at, I'm guessing, a Slavic accent, and just...
I'm forgiving him because he's sexy. But here's the other... Yes. Here's my other problem with Zach Ward being Nikolai, though. And it's not that he's not a good actor. It's the simple fact that Nikolai was supposed to be a lot older.
Zach Ward is a better comedic actor than he is an action star. By any...
No?
Oh,
yeah. He was in Charmed. He's good at drama and shit.
I've seen him in Charmed. If you didn't think that performance was funny, then I'm sorry for you.
I mean, he was a demon throwing a temper tantrum. It was funny.
He played Christopher Titus in Christopher Titus's brother in the television show Titus. which was absolutely hilarious. He kind of played sort of a dumbass. He was also in Postal, which was funny.
He was also in Freddy vs. Jason.
He's in a lot of shit. But like I've
I
always
follow
liked
him on
Zach.
Instagram.
I've always liked Zach Ward, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt for this film, but it was just the accent was too much. It's like, you know what? Either fully commit to the accent, get a dialect coach or whatever, or drop the accent altogether and just be you. Because he would have been great comedic relief on the level of, what is that? What's his name? Omar Epps?
Mike Epps.
Mike Epps, not Omar Epps.
Two different actors.
Yes, two completely different actors. It's not like I don't mix people's names up pretty much every podcast.
This is true.
I've never once in the entire time that I decided to sit down and chat with people on the podcast thought to myself, you know what? I am the smartest man in the room. No, I know I'm a dumbass. And for the most part, I invite people on here because I like to have them educate me on shit that I might not know.
I have another gripe.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
So Jill walks into the police station, shooting all the zombies in the head. Yet she couldn't shoot her friend in the head to keep him from turning into a zombie when he got bitten. It's like, you know what's going to happen. Why are you not doing this?
No emotional attachment.
Right.
So the people that she shot,
but still.
I will have to admit that's probably my favorite scene with her. Just a badass walking through the precinct, just blowing people away like she's some sort of female Terminator.
And then shoots Mike Epps' handcuffs. No problem to set him free. She's like, fuck a key.
Right.
But and then there's the rule change.
Okay.
So in the first Resident Evil movie, we have 3 hours from the time they walk into the hive to get back out.
Right.
Or else the door's shut. Anybody who was still alive, Rain, turned into a zombie in less than 3 hours. Carlos got bitten, and 3 hours later, still not turning. He didn't look like shit or anything. He looked like he might have had a little cold. Rain, on the other hand, got bitten multiple times, and it still took a while. And she looked like hell. She looked like hell. She was hoping she was going to survive, and she was going to get laid.
She also did a much better job acting.
Well, it's Michelle Rodriguez. You can't really compare her and Evil2-4.
Oh, I think I just compared them. I can compare them. I can compare, I can contrast, and I can go, like this job, did not like that job.
Here we go.
Yep.
Two of the actors in Resident Evil Apocalypse were both in Charmed.
That's right. Yes, I do know
Evil2-4 was also in Charmed.
I thought there was another guy in there too. I thought Jared Farris, the guy that played Dr. Ashford, was also in Charmed at one point, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe?
Nah, no? I don't think so. Because I thought so at first, and then I think I was getting him confused with that Rain guy.
It's possible.
Something Rain.
Mind you, it's been a while since I've sat down and watched Charmed all the way through, so...
I've watched it several times.
Back when I got my wife the DVDs, we watched them frequently because we did not have cable back then. That's why we were buying so many DVDs.
I lived with them time when all I did was watch Disney movies because I didn't have cable.
I no longer have cable. I have access to too many streaming services, and I've bought a bunch of DVDs, 90% of which I don't think I've watched.
Trying to think if there's another gripe I have in this movie.
Oh, there's got to be plenty.
For you, there's plenty. Don't forget, this is one of my favorite in the series.
Right. Okay. I mean, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here, too, so...
Well, it's like... Thank you, I'm the Zach Ward now.
You are the Zach Ward of this podcast.
But, I mean, because, I loved it. I love the scene shot, all the scenes. The whole... give props to Mila Jovovich being able to hold that shotgun one-handed to kill a licker. Because they talked about how she actually struggled for a while trying to hold that shotgun just right because of how heavy it was in one hand.
Right.
So I mean, she's a badass altogether.
Being able to hold it with one hand and then not react to what is supposed to be one hell of a kickback.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be able to hold it with one hand, pull the trigger, and not have too much of an issue.
Yeah.
So kudos for her, and I'm wondering if they might have cut back on it just a little bit, just so she didn't have like tinnitus from shooting too much.
Well, it also could have been a stunt double who shot the actual gun.
That's entirely possible.
I mean, it's like it's one of those things to hold the gun. It's another thing to actually shoot the gun.
She holds certain weapons like frequently throughout this franchise that honestly, like, wielding it with one hand seems difficult at the very least.
Yep. There's more we'll get into when we do Resident Evil Afterlife.
Oh, Resident Evil Afterlife. That is, as far as I'm concerned, we will talk about that next week. But as far as I'm concerned, I watched these two films. I watched Resident Evil Afterlife, and I had almost given up after Extinction. But Afterlife, I felt like, yeah, I liked that one. I did. It was like
It's also one of my favorites. It's like a turning point.
So Apocalypse, starting to give up. Extinction, why am I still watching this shit?
Wow.
Afterlife, oh, okay, I'm good. Yeah, I like this.
I think, like, Extinction, my problem is like the stark contrast from we're in an underground place, which is like, yeah, there's lights, but it's a dark atmosphere. Then we hit the city streets of Raccoon City. It's night, dark atmosphere. Extinction, it's daytime. It's hard to make stuff scary in the daytime.
There were some points that were, no, I wouldn't say scary, just tense.
You want to know why these were scary?
Why?
Because that's the words behind the scenes they were using. We were trying to make things scary in the daytime.
No.
That's what they said.
Oh, you failed. What about that?
Like, if I talk about the action scenes, they're okay. Like, I got my own bitching about that when we get to Extinction. But yeah. Who is your favorite actor in Apocalypse?
In Apocalypse? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, outside of Mila, right? Because we're
right. Mila carries that movie. I mean, understandably.
I'm gonna say I will say that Dr. Isaacs.
Dr. Isaacs.
Ian Glenn. Dr. Isaacs. Is that what his name is? Am I making a mistake?
No, you're. He's in Extinction.
Yeah, he is in this. He is in Extinction. He's in this near the end, though. Like, he's not like.
He's not the main guy we're dealing with in Resident Evil 2.
He's not the main guy that you're dealing with in Resident Evil 2, but he is intimidating as fucking hell, first of all. Like,
but he's not in it until the end.
I know. You're asking me who my favorite is.
Okay, fair point.
Okay. I'm giving you outside of Mila. He was my favorite because it set up something that I was willing to watch to go into the third film, sorry.
Okay.
And worst? Honestly, he's one of my favorites from, I already told you my worst. I already just.
Zach Ward was your worst?
Yep. I threw Zach Ward down.
Oh God.
The problem is that I like him so much as an actor, and I think he is underutilized. And he should be in more things, but
I agree.
In this film, in general, the horrible Russian accent that he had. I say Russian, it's Slavic. It's not really, you can't really place where that comes from. It's just not, it wasn't believable. I didn't feel like he was an intimidating character. And I think that if you had just removed the accent, he would have been passable and it would have been enjoyable to have him in the film. So that's my best and my worst. What are yours?
My best? Oh, this one's complicated.
Of course it is.
Because it's a tie. It's a tie. For Sienna Gilroy and Mike Epps. But it's like their acting styles in this movie particularly are two totally different. They contrast against each other. Mike Epps, funny and everything else. Every line is delivered as a punchline, whether it's part of a joke or not. Sienna Gilroy, so fucking serious throughout the whole thing, except for when she's talking to Angie.
I mean, he did his job.
He
did his
did,
job
and
as
he was
LJ.
great.
He was comedic relief.
Yeah.
He was constantly being saved throughout the entire film.
Okay. In fairness, one was because he became a non-threat.
I mean, Mike Epps.
Respect.
I like
respect.
I like that they filmed him as not just the comic relief, but essentially they made him the damsel in distress of this film.
I mean, after Terry was gone, yeah.
Yeah, but he was the damsel in distress in this film.
Almost. I think that was another thing I fucking loved.
Yeah.
Like, Terry thought she was going to be able to go with somebody. Jill's like, nah, bitch, no. You got the same job as everybody else. Hands her a gun. I don't know how to use one of these things. It's easy. Try to shoot him in the head.
And then
one thing about Sienna, though, is like her British accent kept coming out a little bit.
I like the creepy kids that ended up eventually just devouring her.
Oh my god, my main complaint is like, you just saw one creepy kid who scared the shit out of you. You see more creepy kids who scared the shit out of you. How'd you forget about the creepy kid behind you?
Like, that was probably the most pointless death in the entire film. Also, I do have to say, beginning of the film, one of my favorite scenes when Jill is walking through just kind of shooting everybody and she sees Mike for the first time, or LJ for the first time. The prostitute, I'm guessing,
the one beside him,
the zombie prostitute that's laying beside him, basically looks like Nicole Richie in zombie makeup.
I mean, she kind of does.
She did. She looked like Nicole Richie in zombie makeup. But
she had, as a dead woman, she had more meat on her bones.
If LJ had sat there long enough, she would have had more meat in her mouth too. That was not supposed to sound like it sounded. She was going to eat him.
My worst actor would have been, like, I wouldn't say she was bad. She just wasn't my favorite character. Like, I can't say she's a bad actor since it's the woman who played Terry. Like, I just did not like her character. Her character was annoying. I guess that was the job of her, was to be annoying. So it's like, I can't say my worst actor. I would say my least favorite character.
Why did you think she was annoying? As you talk, you stopped to take a drink there, yeah.
It's one of those things of I don't know. It's just like everything she does is just so fucking annoying. Like, this is my Emmy. I've got to record everything. She's like a modern day, like, she reminds me of if a zombie apocalypse happened now, all the bitches and shit who would be on their phones just taking recordings of everything instead of trying to either help or get away.
Yeah, I mean, she was destined to be basically eaten.
Yeah. So
there was no way she was escaping that.
It was like, she'd have been like, oh my god, I gotta put this on TikTok and tell everybody I've ever met.
Oh, yeah, she does kind of seem like a Resident Evil TikToker. What would that even be?
A resident talker?
I have no idea. Okay.
She's a resident ticker.
Moving on to the third film in the franchise, Resident Evil. Seeing as we're trying to double up so we can get in all 6 by the end of, October. We missed a week, so.
That's why we're doubling up more.
I say we missed a week, I missed a week, you missed a week. We both have this issue. Like, we're recording right now. However, every single day this week, something happened, and we're like, let's push it to tomorrow. Let's push it till tomorrow.
Twice this week was on you. One day this week was on me.
Oh no, my week was I like I said, I was working on that promotion thing, so my entire
You was working on that promotion.
Fucked.
There was a couple of days you were walking home. And then like there was one day I took a nap because I was just so tired. Like, and I've just been tired.
Fair enough.
Now I'm starting to sound like Mila. I need a lozenge.
I'm so tired.
I'm tired.
So, you want to give us a synopsis of Resident Evil Extinction?
Oh, wait.
No? What?
We have to bring up the simple fact that Alice died on a helicopter.
Did she? Did
Yes.
she?
Yes. You are not left that long with your eyes wide open on rocks around a waterfall or a creek, whatever, and not be dead.
Okay. Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
speculation is that when we see her in the thing with Dr. Isaacs,
yes.
is that it's a new clone.
I don't think I think we just keep dealing with clone after clone, and one clone always ends up being the superior one. I don't
Yeah.
think we've dealt with the real Alice in a couple films.
No,
Well,
we have not.
mind you, my brain is also reminding myself that I just watched the 4th installment today, so that's where I'm making that
Well, the thing is,
statement
like,
from.
you haven't got to the end, so no, you are correct in your assumption.
You know what? I'm going to give the brief synopsis.
Give us the brief.
Survivors of the Raccoon City catastrophe travel across the Nevada desert hoping to make it to Alaska. Alice joins the caravan and their fight against the evil Umbrella Corporation. It's not really a synopsis, more of a brief explanation of what we watched at best. Why are they going to Alaska?
Why?
Why?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm
Because
asking you.
because they hear that there is no infection in a place called Arcadia.
Arcadia. So, what they're doing is they're trying to get from Nevada to Alaska.
The funny thing is like you just skip like half the movie.
It's like, weren't you just in Toronto for that last film? You were already in Canada. Why'd you go to Nevada?
Well,
I know that was just location shooting, I get it, but
well, they did talk about like how it was hot during the day but cold during the nights when they were filming.
And this wonderful film, Extinction, introduces us to...
Claire Redfield.
And, come on, the big bad.
Ian. Dr. Isaacs.
Wesker. Albert Wesker.
Yeah, he wasn't the big bad.
Not, well...
In this film, in the games, like he's behind a lot of shit all the way through Resident Evil 5 until he's finally killed. In this movie, like he's there, but he's not menacing.
In this movie, he is. Well, I'm saying we get introduced to him.
Yes, we do.
He becomes a little bit more important in the next film.
It's like I've got quite a like. I like this movie, but I've also got so many gripes.
I think I have more gripes than likes with this film. Again, with the whole shooting everything in the daytime, it's a zombie film. There's quite a few less zombies, and too many people get killed by zombie crows.
Okay. I'm already going to give you my worst actress for this one. And the sad thing is I love her as a singer. It's Ashanti. As Betty.
I'm gonna say this. And all right. First of all, I don't hate these movies. I would watch them again in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I give a lot of hate to a lot of things in the movies, but I would watch them again in a heartbeat.
Overall, they're enjoyable.
That being said, as much as I don't like Zach Ward in the last film, Ashanti in this
Ashanti.
film...
Ashanti?
Ashanti. Whatever. However you pronounce her name. I've seen her in a few things. I don't like her as an actress. I really don't.
It's the few things I've seen her in. Buffy, that thing with Chad Tucker, whatever that movie was. I mean, it's like she was supposed to play some popular type of girl or whatever and have this type of attitude. It worked for that. Like, she was basically just being herself talking. But in this movie, as a post-apocalyptic survivor, she did not fit at all.
She is just the novelty of having a singer as an actress in your film or your TV show or whatever. I've never seen her in something where I enjoyed her performance. She is
not a Lady Gaga.
She acts across from people that make her performance tolerable,
Yeah.
But it's never her performance that I go, man, that was fucking great. No, it's
It's like her first line. You gotta be shitting me, Otto. It's like you don't fit in this, and it's like it's nothing about skin color. Because again, Mike Epps is in this movie. Love him.
right.
Like, but she just did not fit.
I just think the character, however they designed it or planned it out, the character didn't feel like it fit within the story here.
It's
It's one of those disjointed things that I was talking about. It's like they kind of shoe her in there, like, we have her. We want to have her in this film. How do we put her in this film?
And they put her as their medic. And it's like, but why? Was she a registered nurse, an LPN before everything happened? It's like, here's my main problem with Extinction is we know nothing about these characters before we meet these characters. Like, there's no backstory to these characters once we meet them. It's like, when we're introduced to Claire Redfield. Most of us who played the games knew that was Chris's little sister. She was in college and when during Raccoon City shit, and now all of a sudden she's leading a caravan of survivors. Ow! Why?
See, these are questions that I would have had I ever played the actual games.
Well, it's
or the
not
recent
even that.
incarnations.
It's not even that. We're going to the next movie. Now, I know because of shooting Aragon, Sienna Gilroy couldn't come back as Jill for this movie. And it's like, but you don't explain what happened to Jill, even though we have Carlos there, who was with Jill when Alice apparently just disappeared on them.
I think they do that with, and this is...
and we also have LJ there.
A conversation that I had heard, another podcast altogether, but they have this tendency to kind of move on to the next episode with this series and forget large chunks of things that happened from the previous film.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're just sort of rewriting the story every time they start a new
It's like
episode.
They rewrite the story every time Mila Jovovich says, "My name is Alice."
My name is Alice. I've mostly forgotten what I've done in the last film due to a concussion. So we are going to go ahead and rewrite it and make this film.
But it's like, as a fan of these films, it's just like, I have to ask these questions. Like, okay, you don't, and it becomes even more frustrating later. Like, in more films. Like, I will have so many gripes when it comes to this kind of shit. Because I'll be like, you're not explaining what happened to these people. It's like, next thing you know, we have more people who were connected to the other people who were not there. But we don't have conversations.
You've seen all the other films. Does Jill ever pop back up?
Yes.
She does. Okay.
You already know this.
I do?
You watched Resident Evil 4, and I told you watched past the first part of the credits.
Was that Jill?
That was Battlesuit Jill from Resident Evil 5. She's blonde.
Okay, so I didn't know that was Jill. We'll talk about that next...
Yes, we will. Next week.
Well, we'll talk about that next week. We're skipping way ahead now. We're
It's like you asked a question, so it's like I had to be like, "Excuse me."
This is the first episode within this franchise that basically you start seeing multiple upon multiple upon multiple Alices.
Yes. I won't lie. Like, I actually loved the whole beginning of everything. Like, when they're first taking out the people in Tokyo. Like, first, I gotta say that the intro for the movie, great. Like, you're just basically following along these people in Tokyo or in Japan, and there's like, at one point, it's just coming up this woman's leg and everything else. And next thing you know, she eats somebody.
Are you talking about the other movie again?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
That was actually at the end of Extinction, though.
I don't remember that being at the end of Extinction.
Was it not?
No.
See, I've seen way too many of these movies too many times. They blur.
They're all bleeding together.
They are. Back to Extinction.
Let's talk about the movie we actually watched. I mean, we've watched a couple of these films already, but we're jumping ahead.
Back to Extinction.
At this point, we might as well just talk about the next film and just make this one episode.
I mean, we can. We can, and then we can do 5 and 6 as our own.
Is there enough meat on 5 and 6 to make them their own?
Yes.
There are okay. So
There's
you
a
know what?
lot. There's a lot of bitch about number 6.
So the chaos that our podcast is, I'll tell you what. Today we're going to skip the pitch, and we're going to talk about the next 2 films, seeing as Piper has gone ahead and like, hey, guess what happens in the film that we're not watching for
But
this podcast?
okay, but we got to go back just a little bit because Extinction we're not done with.
No, we're not done with
I
Extinction.
need a bitch about the simple fact that Mila's running around with kookery, but there's not enough blood or anything else. Like, it was like they cut back on a lot of shit for this film.
So far, this is probably one of my favorite outfits for her in the film.
I like it. I hate her hair.
What?
I like her outfit. Hate her hair.
You hate the hair? Well, I mean,
Hate the hair.
she's in the desert. What
I
do you
mean,
expect her hair to be?
it makes sense, like grown, just growing. But I
Right.
mean, if she wants to keep it short, it would look choppy as fuck because she's probably cutting herself with a kookery.
Right.
So I mean, like, I'm not saying like I hate the hairstyle. I'm not saying that her hairstyle doesn't make sense.
This movie, Extinction, started off and it ticked me off because it confused me. So I put the disc in to watch Extinction.
Oh.
And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck's going on? Like, did I put the right disc in? So I stopped it and I pulled it out. And I'm like, no, this is Extinction. So I'm watching and I'm like, why is this? And they decided to basically recreate part of the beginning of the last film, like the situation, and put Alice through the same basic beginning situation.
To put the clones through, yeah. To see if they react the same.
Right. So
but it's like,
basically it's Isaac's testing the Alices that he's creating.
I first started watching that, I had the same issue as you did, but then I noticed something, and it's probably sad that I noticed this.
Okay.
When she's standing in the mirror and you get a back shot of her, you don't see her nipple when she turns to the side to grab a robe or whatever. You do not see her nipple because there's a lot less nudity for her in this one.
How did I miss nipples?
I don't know, because you love Mila Jovovich.
There was no nipples there, so that's how I missed nipples, actually.
Exactly. But it's like, she is like, you see her nipples later, of course, like when you're seeing the clones and the bubbles.
Right.
Although I don't think that was technically her nipples. I think that was just like CGI type thing. Well, because that pose and everything.
Technically, based off of the last film and that bubble scene at the end of what is it? Not Afterlife.
Extinction.
Apocalypse. No, they had a scene where she was in the bubble.
Oh yeah, like you saw her nipples and everything there.
So I feel, knowing that they were going to continue the film, it's possible that they asked her to go through several more motions while still doing that scene.
It's
so
possible.
That when they do the next movie, basically they've got all they need already filmed for the next film.
And they could just like post it there and like do multiples.
Because I can imagine that Mila herself was probably a high budget actress. You know,
she became more of a high budget when it came to Resident Evil.
And with the first 4 films all being around the same budget, they were around 45 million each incarnation. Am I not
that
mistaken?
is true. That is true.
I'm looking. I'm going to go look up Afterlife in just a second, but I believe.
Wait, don't look up Afterlife because I want to tell you something about it.
Well, I'm not looking at anything other than just the basic budget for Afterlife. So let's see. That is what we watched? That was number 4, Afterlife.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Afterlife is 4.
I was just looking at the basic. Oh no, actually, Afterlife got a step up of 15 million for their budget. So
there's a reason why.
And what was the reason why?
It's the first Resident Evil movie shot in 3D.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. We'll get into that in a couple. I could understand where some of that 3D came from.
It was also why it was the highest grossing Resident Evil movie to date.
Extinction, it was less about the zombies and more about them getting from point A to point B across the desert and honing in on where Wesker and Isaacs were.
Well, their main point was Alice didn't know about Wesker.
No, she
Her
didn't.
main point was to find Isaacs and finish it. I found it funny when the White Queen introduces herself, and then she's like, I knew your sister. She was a homicidal bitch. Anytime they refer to the Red Queen, she's a homicidal bitch.
Oh, she was.
I mean, they're not wrong.
But I mean, she was doing it mainly to protect humanity, if you think about it. She was trying to keep whatever was in there from getting out.
True.
So she did her job. She did it fairly effectively. They managed to outsmart her and basically fuck everything straight to hell.
Let's see.
Okay.
I think I loved Ali Lauder.
I think Ali Lauder is highly underused as an action actress.
I think it's one of these things. It's like she kind of proved herself in this movie. Of course, there was more shots of Mila doing everything, of course. But it's like I'll talk more about Ali in the next one.
I was going to say she proved herself more in the next film, not necessarily this one.
Right.
She established herself in this film as a presence, but didn't quite have as much action.
Because it's like, I think she has an absence from a film, and I think it's because she was doing Heroes.
Right. Well, I mean, she did pretty damn good in Heroes, too.
I've never watched Heroes.
She is a great action actress. And she's kind of underutilized. I don't know why she doesn't get enough play, but I've always liked her.
I love Ali Lauder. Like, first time I saw her was Legally Blonde. And then I saw her in Final Destination.
Now I'm trying to remember the name of the damn movie, and I'm gonna kick myself in the ass for not remembering.
Wasn't she also in House on Haunted? Or there was a haunted house, or it was a scary movie she did that she also, I want to say Bridget Wilson Sampras was also in it.
I believe it was House on Haunted Hill. I think that's what it was called, right?
I don't know if she was in that one. It might have been.
If I'm not
now
mistaken.
I'm looking it up.
Go ahead and look it up.
I am looking it up.
I'm trying to look up a film that has. We're both sitting here trying to look up films. I'm trying to look up this. So I've known her. The first movie that stuck out in my brain involving Ali Lauder was this film where basically she comes. Oh God, I can't remember the name. I think is it Varsity Blues? Varsity Blues.
She was in Varsity Blues,
where she comes out in the whipped cream bikini.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which gets spoofed in Not Another Teen Movie.
And Chris Evans comes out with a banana split. A banana sticking right out of his ass.
But thank you, Ali Lauder, for the hilarious spoof of your semi-nudity.
But, yeah, she was in House on Haunted Hill with Bridget Wilson Sampras, and I used to get them two confused. And it wasn't because they look completely alike. It's just like when I was younger, two blondes. I knew one of them played Sonya Blade in the in 1995's Mortal Kombat, but I'm just like, two blondes.
Yeah, no, she's done a lot of decent films. She was in Final Destination.
I said that.
A couple of those, right? No, you did.
She's in Final Destination 1 and 2.
And I'm over here just looking over a whole bunch of things that I've never seen before. She was in Jay and Silent Bob's Strike Back. You're Not You, Crazy, Lovesick, Giving It Up, The Man in the White Van. Okay, these are a bunch of films that I have never even heard of before, so I'm going to move on.
I'm Ali like, why are we getting her IMDb?
Ali Lauder has star power. She's just underutilized altogether, and I'm not sure she'd be utilized at this point, because, I don't know, she's fallen into relative obscurity at this point. She's done memorable stuff. People remember her for things, but as far as any recent performances, there's not a lot out there outside of Obsessed. I believe there was a movie that she did alongside of Beyonce.
Yeah, it was Obsessed.
And she played basically...
I never saw it.
The white girl going after Beyonce's husband, and it became
I love how you didn't say it the other way. She's the white girl going after the black man who's a husband of a black woman. She crazy? White bitch crazy?
Not for nothing, I've met a lot more crazy white bitches than anything else.
Hello, hi.
I'm good friends with a couple. Okay. Yep.
Hello, hi.
Hi. You're crazy. Nico's crazy. You're all fucking crazy.
But besides Mila, I would put Ali Lauder as my favorite actress in this movie.
Okay, so we're picking out favorite actors and actresses at this point.
Yeah, because it's like I thought Claire was great, although I did not like how she didn't have a backstory. All we see is her with a group of survivors. Because this
Right.
leads me into a complaint for the next movie anyway. Um, but it's like that's all we know about her. And then she has red hair, and her last name is Redfield. It's like originally Claire was actually brunette.
So I like Joe Hurlsley as Otto. I really did like him in this film.
Yeah, you
Uh,
just don't see him enough.
you
I
don't see
think.
him enough. I'm gonna lean on it again. I know that I had him for my last film, but I think Dr. Isaac's there, Ian Glenn. It's still my favorite in this film.
Ian,
Ian.
Ian Glenn,
Ian. Ian.
Ian Glenn.
Ian. Look, I have no ability to pronounce even the most simple names.
Apparently, Ian totally went to Ian all of a sudden.
You're lucky that I've never mispronounced your name.
I'm shocked I haven't been called Pipper.
Piper.
Pep. Ian.
I am Christ.
Next time I meet an Ian, I'm going like, "Hello, Ian."
Hello, I'm Christ. This is Piper, and this is Cinematic Anarchy. I am just shitty at pronouncing things in general, and a lot of that has to do with I got a lot of bad road work here from having lived in Georgia for a long time, and so I had to
go ahead.
tripping over my tongue quite a bit.
I am glad we actually agree on the same worst actor in this movie.
Yes.
Good old Shanti. Like I said, I love her music, but
as a musician, fucking fantastic. As an actress, I'm glad she got paid. That's.
It's like, bitch, we're glad you were there just for the paycheck.
It's like okay, look, we're watching the dailies here, and we've seen what you can do, and we're gonna keep you in the film. All right. However, you'll find that the check that you tried to deposit into the bank about 30 minutes ago, it's gonna bounce. It's not that we don't have the money; we just don't have the money for you.
Well, it's like if you even look at her death scene, it wasn't good.
No.
Like the way she's like scrolling across the back glass of the bus. It's like that didn't even look good. And the sad thing is the CGI of the wires and the CGI of the birds look better than your death.
Like, I know what she did. She sacrificed herself to try to take out some of the
birds and keep the kids safe.
Right. However,
and she was like, "I'm already bitten and pecked. I'm not going to survive."
You're a hero. You're a horrible actress. You're a hero.
Your character was a hero, but I'm glad your character died.
Okay, and Ashante, if you actually sit down and listen to this,
Ashante.
I will say it the way that I say it.
Chris, you're the one who tells us to call you out for shit.
Yeah, it's fine.
Ashante.
Look, that's how I hear it. Ashante. You know,
Ashante.
No, Ashanti.
There you go.
There you go. I did it. Yay.
You did it.
Well, I like I said, I like your musical performances. I like you as a musician, as a singer. I'm glad that you stopped trying to dip your toe in the acting pool. I really am. Because I don't want, for people that I truly enjoy, if I really enjoy your music and you decide to become an actor and or actress and you do a horrible job of it, that taints my opinion of you in the other areas of your profession.
If they do that taints my taint.
Transversely, if you're a great actor and or actress and you decide to become a musician, you know who I'm talking about, Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy, Don Johnson.
Shut your mouth! No, just kidding.
Ah, yeah.
I'm talking about like Eddie Murphy as Rasputia. If Rasputia had heard this shit, you shut your mouth.
Yeah, no, just this. I will forever remember "Party All the Time" as a song that he did.
We
However,
love to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time.
however, just some people, just because you can make an album does not mean you should make an album. Especially just because you can act in a movie does not mean you should act in a movie.
Are you trying to call me out? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Whoa. Whoa. No. That's not
I
where
know
I was
that took a
going.
big jump.
All right. Resident Evil Extinction, what would you say worst scenes, best scenes in the film?
Worst scene?
Worst scenes.
Betty's death.
Betty's death is the worst scene for you. Why?
It sucked. Like it just there are plenty of people who died during that shit, and why is hers the one I'm noticing the most? Because it was so bad. Like, there's other people I could feel bad for. Otto being one of them. He got a really quick death scene from a bunch of birds. And then it's like, hers is dragged across the screen.
I wouldn't have thought that you would have thought that her death was the worst scene in that film. Like,
It's the one that's hardest to watch.
It's one of those things where you're like, oh my God, she's dead. Yeah. Okay, no. It's just a cheer.
My problem is not that I'm not like happy that her character's dead. It's the simple fact it takes away from everybody else's dead, like Otto and everything else, because it was just not believable.
There was too much focus on it. They could have just had these birds go in and devour her in
all you see is like a bunch of birds hear her scream. And that would have been better.
All you needed.
Yeah.
That's all you needed in that scene. You didn't have to have her pressed up against the glass. You didn't have to have any of that.
Right. It's like, for Otto, all we see is him get chased out of the bus by birds and pecked to death. And then it's over. Like, almost in an instant. And I'm like, but Otto was like a much more likable character. Like, you actually got to know him a little bit.
I liked Otto. I feel like the actor himself, I think he has a bit of an accent he was fighting off in that film, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't even know if he was actually trying to fight it off.
No, he kind of had sort of I want to say like an Irish or Scottish accent.
I'm actually about to look him up.
I think it was just sort of, he was trying to Americanize it just a little bit. And I think you got little undertones of his accent while he was doing his performance. So he basically became the Zach Ward of this film, where he was trying to do an American accent and keep his accent under wraps, whereas Zach Ward was doing the Slavic accent and keeping the American accent under wraps.
His name is Joe Hursley, and he was born in Austin, Texas.
Oh my God. It sounded like he had some kind of accent lingering under there, and it was not the accent.
See, I didn't detect that kind of accent.
Why did I think that he was like... That bothers me so much now. That bothers me. Like, I honestly thought that he was... All right, never mind. I'm just going to shut my mouth.
Are you though?
Wow. I misinterpreted that all over. I really did.
Jeez.
I'm surprised. I am genuinely surprised at myself. I might be mistaking him with someone else, and I'll go and look it up later, because I'm not going to try to hunt it down right now, because he looks similar to somebody that might have that accent.
Peter Dinklage?
No. He does not look like Peter Dinklage.
He kind of does. Like, he's just like a full-grown version of Peter Dinklage. And I don't mean to say it like that.
Peter Dinklage. Jeez.
He kind of does.
What on earth? Wow, that was... I am sorry, Peter Dinklage. What are you doing? Hey,
Peter Dinklage is a great actor.
Peter Dinklage, you look like this full-grown man over here. What? What?
I meant facial features. Jesus.
But you just said he looked like a full-grown version of Peter Dinklage. Those are the exact words that came out of your mouth.
Okay, I'm awful. I admit that.
I am dying over here, and I can't be laughing this much. Okay, you know what? The jacket's coming off. It's coming off because the air conditioning's off, and I'm starting to sweat my ass off, and I'm stuck.
Oh, no. Mister, this jacket makes me look smaller. The jacket's not small. Next thing you know, an hour later,
no,
I'm stuck.
When I'm saying that it made me look smaller, I'm not talking like thinner. It made me feel short for some reason.
I'm just over here laughing. The jacket's not small, and then an hour later, I'm stuck.
basically straight-jacketed myself, hands behind my back. It was not a good thing for all of like 5 seconds. I'm out. I'm free.
I'm
Okay.
stuck.
Favorite scene in the film?
Mm.
I've got a couple. But first thing on the top of my head,
like the whole series of scenes at the beginning of the movie. Like the Alice clone going through the hive, the fake hive, like putting it through the test. Like I like the whole series thing. It's like because when they killed her, or I thought she was dead, I was just like, oh, what?
up to having her body dumped into a pit of other Alice's.
Right. That's when I got.
That is one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites is the fire in the sky scene where they take out the birds.
Oh, where she uses like her telekinesis to do it.
Basically, yes.
Her psychic abilities.
I thought that was fairly interesting. I liked how they shot that. It didn't feel as out of place as some special effects have felt in this series so far.
No, it's not the special effects. It's the whole Alice having supernatural abilities things for me. It's like, I get it. We did start seeing it at the end of Apocalypse where she was able to make a guy bleed from his orifices just by looking through a camera.
It only gets worse as we go along. They've taken this movie that had basically human, or I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, in the game series, nobody ever ends up with like superhuman powers like this.
Some of them actually do.
Do they?
I mean, it's not to the extent they put in the movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, to this extent, though, like they've turned her into like a superhuman character.
They've turned her into a witch.
I know that they corrected it to a point, but that's neither here nor there. So I don't like the idea that they basically turned her into a superhuman character for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I liked Alice sort of as the grounded human infected with the T-virus, I guess, based off of how abominable some of the other creatures have become. To have her as a human imbued with superhuman powers in contrast was kind of good.
Well, it's like to have her imbued where she can take more hits. Like, it's like if you think about it as an RPG, like she can do more damage, she can take more hits kind of thing. It's like she's a little more badass or has like a little bit more agility type thing than your average human. That seemed fine. That was dandy. That was great. And then next thing you know, it's like, okay. So if I went back to Apocalypse and was thinking about the whole guy like bleeding out of his orifices, whatever, it's like maybe if she was emitting a high pitched sound that would make him do that.
Right.
That would have actually made more sense for her mutation rather than it being like a psychic ability type shit.
Not security guard looks through camera. Alice looks at camera. Security guard bleeds. You know,
it's like I said, like if she was emitting a high pitched sound, that would sound more like a mutation from her T-virus thing because it's coming from her body, not some type of psychic shit. It's like you went from that to turning her into like a telekinetic and all this other shit type of witch from any other type of series or movie.
It makes me wonder why she couldn't just do that instead of the approach she took with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Like, did she have to physically find Wesker? Did she have to physically find Dr. Isaacs?
Well, it's like, well, hell, if you think about the way she did it, it's like, could she not have saved almost every person in Vegas when she first got to the terminal thing that held them, like that canister thing?
Right.
Like, she could have, like, seismic waved that whole fucking shit.
Is the gentleman dying in the background there all right?
I don't know. I'm not downstairs.
I hear somebody that sounds like they're half dying.
Yes, but I can't tell them to shut up. This is their place.
Oh, okay.
I don't own this place. I can't tell them to be quiet. I'm recording like you can.
Oh.
I rent these rooms.
I can't tell the people that drive by my window on a daily basis with their motorcycles and cars that have loud mufflers, but definitely do not have them attached to cars that sound like they should have loud mufflers.
Yeah.
Like they almost every car that drives by that has that the glass pack or whatever. I don't understand what the. I'm not a car person. I'm a movie person. I know shit about cars. But you have all these cars that are like, okay, I know
I know cars that are shit.
I know you spent a lot of money on how your car sounds, but did you look at your car before you did that? Like, you don't want to draw attention to the fact that you're driving a shit box.
Yeah.
You know, your muffler didn't fall off, so obviously you either put a hole in it or you did something to it.
We need to do something real quick.
Sure, what do you need to do?
Resident Evil Apocalypse. 1 through 11.
Oh, yeah, we never rated Resident Evil Apocalypse 1 through 11. Resident Evil Apocalypse, I'm probably going to lean on the side of maybe a 6 at best.
I'll give it a 6.5.
You're going to give it a 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
You said that Resident Evil Apocalypse is one of your favorites in the series.
It's one of my favorites in the series. It's not my favorite in the series.
One of. So as one of your favorites, this gets a 6.5.
Yes, because there's certain things I hate about it. Nemesis becoming good. Alice becoming a witch.
Something seems wrong with that for some reason. Okay. And so Extinction.
It gets a 4.
On a scale from 1 through 11, 4. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go right there with you. It's not like bottom of the barrel, but I'll give it about a 3.5 to a 4. Only because this is the one that made me go, do I really want to watch the other 3 films?
It was me who told you, like, Resident Evil 4 was Afterlife was a good turning point. There's a lot of things for me to gripe about, but it's a good turning point.
I have my gripes about Afterlife too, but it was definitely made me want to go watch the other 2 films because I was ready to give up after Extinction. Like, I don't know. I like that we ended with more Alice's, and I'm a little disappointed that they didn't pay Bjork for Army of Me for that, because that really would have fit.
Resident Evil, when we get to it, Retribution is good.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
No, we have not.
Based off of the fact that we have inadvertently slipped and talked about it a little bit, we're going to go ahead and watch or talk about the fact that we just watched today. We watched Resident Evil Afterlife, and we skipped around so much. Well, it's not your bad, because let's be wholeheartedly honest. The reason why you kind of attributed some of those things from Afterlife to the last film was because of the fact that there wasn't enough to attribute to the last film.
Well, no, that wasn't my reason. It was an accident.
It was an accident, but it was an understandable one based off of how little we had to say about that film. Well, outside of ouch.
See, but now, like, I'm thinking in my head, it's like, okay, now I know why I melded those 2 films, because it's actually 4 and some other stuff from a later one that are actually melded with that scene.
Like, and this is entirely honest here. You're listening. Anybody that's listening to this at this point, we spent almost our entire discussion of Resident Evil Extinction talking about how bad Ashante was in it.
Yes, we talked about how bad Ashante was.
Ashanti.
There you go.
Ashanti, Ashanti. I don't know.
I have to give props to Lyndon Ashby, though, the cowboy in Extinction as well.
There were good points to the movie. There were. But if you noticed, we moved on to Afterlife. We've already moved on. And it was because of the fact that we gave that a 4 and a 3.5 because this is not the best film in the franchise.
No, it's not.
By a long stretch.
So, back to the opening of Resident Evil Afterlife. It was a great opening.
Which we've already talked about.
Yes.
So, yeah, I do like the opening to the film where you're basically winding your way up the Chinese
lady's legs
girl.
And stuff. She's She's Japanese.
Japanese girl. Sorry, this is in Tokyo. And she just has this vacant look on her face.
Mm-hmm.
And then one guy with the entire crowd notices her. Yeah, with an umbrella. Notices her And she starts to slowly look at him, and as soon as they lock eyes, she lunges. And now the apocalypse is in Tokyo.
It's like, I think it's just funny. It's like you see him, you see her lunge, you see them on the ground, and all of a sudden it's just like, bleh, blood's out of the mouth. It was just all of a sudden, bleh.
But I mean, this, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. This film and the multiple Alices is probably my favorite part of it.
I actually loved it, like, but I also I loved all of her clones' hair.
Like, I like that you see one clone, and one of the clones get killed, and she goes, "No, that's no way to treat a lady." Hey, boys, that's no way to treat a lady.
But did you notice, like, if you watch the clones and everything, you have to watch their feet, because it's like, I think they jump cut so much, is that you notice that at one point a clone could be wearing heels, next point that same clone not wearing heels.
Albeit that there was a lot of confusion in that particular beginning, because you basically have an army of dominatrix dressed Alices with katana blades on their back, basically fighting through the Tokyo base of the Umbrella Corporation.
Yep.
And it has always been my feeling, like, I think they should look at the movies and make large open world games based off of the base structure for, like, the one, like, in the original film, and in this film, like, those bases, those underground bases, they should just make as a game for the franchise. But
well, I mean, let's not forget that those things that you're talking about were already in the games. The Hive was already in the first game because it was under the mansion.
Yes.
I love how you're darting away. Your eyes, like, you look down, but I can see them darting. It's like, yeah, did I just get caught? Yeah.
You're also talking to a guy, apparently, that hasn't played it since it was on the Nintendo, which it wasn't on the Nintendo. It was
the Nintendo was on the Resident Evil system.
Like,
no, wait, it wasn't even the Resident Evil system. It was on the Resident Eagle system.
If this is where somebody starts listening to this podcast, immediately they're like, look, man, I'm an hour and a half in, and we just want to know, is this guy okay?
Well, it's only an hour and 21 minutes.
Has he had his medication? It's time for Grandpa to take a nap. There's something wrong there.
Grandpa did find his spectacles, though. You can see that when y'all watch this.
It's a lot easier to look at. Like, I can see myself better now.
When he doesn't have his glasses, it's a total Jinkies fest.
Actually, I think I trip on my tongue a hell of a lot less with my glasses off. This may be like how to take them off. This is where my superpowers, and oh wow, shit. Okay, putting them back on. There we go.
But I did love, like, everything aside, it's the first time I noticed that Mila Jovovich has a severe widow's peak.
Well, her hair was, like, tied back. All the clones had their hair tied back.
Yes, but that's where you can see where her hairline is, and her widow's peak is, like, a lot deeper than mine, and I was born with other parts.
She just has more forehead than most, which is fine. It's got a 5 head. Is that what it is?
Bitch got 10 head.
Oh.
But I can't really say anything. I mean, Allison Hannigan, who played Willow on Buffy, she also had a really deep widow's peak.
I wouldn't call it, okay, yeah, maybe widow's peak, whatever. But
that's what they're called.
Some people should not pull their hair back into tight ponytails.
Right? Well, it's like I can't really bitch about it with Mila. I mean, she is Scandinavian.
I was focused too much on everything else. I wasn't looking at her hair.
I do love, like, their minor details, like in that first scene, though, like when she's spinning on the wall and the bullet, like, breaks the katana blade.
This film tried so hard to be the Matrix. So fucking hard to be the Matrix.
I wouldn't know. The Matrix bored me.
The guy that plays Wesker tried so hard to be Mr. Smith? Is that what his name is?
I just told you those movies bored me.
Yeah. He was like, Mr. Smith from those films was unanimated to begin with, but he moved. Like, he could move. And just the casual disinterest in every single movement at the beginning of this, or not the beginning, the end of the film, that final battle between her and Wesker, all the casual disinterest, just like she kicks the blades at him and he just kind of looks at it very casually.
Well, you're sitting here trying to compare him to another movie, but that's Wesker. In the games, that's Wesker. Because you got to look at this. They're going off a game you haven't played from Resident Evil 5.
Okay.
Like, his actions from that is what they were going off based off of, is how he's, like, how his character's evolved into Resident Evil 5, the game.
Like, he had points where he moved impossibly slow to avoid bullets, and then he had points where he moved impossibly fast.
He was never impossible. Well, they slowed things down to show the bullets, because if you look at the, I know we're jumping around here, the whole battle scene between him, Chris, and Claire is a shot-for-shot thing done from a battle with Albert Wesker, Chris Redfield, and Sheva Alomar from Resident Evil 5.
My point being, and I know I haven't played the game, and I apologize. I'll play them so that I can actually have a frame of reference for some of this. But when they slowed things down so much to show that he was able to avoid bullets, blades, whatever, they slowed him down. All right. They should have kept him at a regular rate of speed to move out of the way of things. Right? Like, he should have been able to move back, move to the side, whatever. Like, he looked like he was physically dodging. He does not also need to look like he is stuck in the mire.
Well, the way they shot it is like they shot everything slow to show all of it happening at once.
Right.
Because they already showed him going fast.
Like, I see it. Right. They already showed him going fast, which means that if you slow down time to show the bullets going by or him moving past something, he would have been moving at the regular rate that everybody else was moving.
I think it was awesome.
Like, everything else would have been slowed down around him, and he would have been just kind of casually walking through, moving around. Oh, yeah, okay, I got this.
That's like the one thing I cannot bitch about that whole scene.
Okay. That's one of my biggest gripes in the entire movie. So, like,
my biggest gripe in the whole entire movie, Alice is able to kick one big shard of glass into a dog that's falling, and she didn't get cut by any of it.
Well, I mean, she didn't take her shoes off afterwards, so we don't know.
I'm talking about she didn't get cut by any of the falling pieces, but she was able to kick that one piece out of all the falling pieces around her.
Okay, that's a little less believable than some of the unbelievable stuff that also happened in this film.
Well, this film also has my gripe of what happened to characters after you have a connection with characters.
This film also is one of the points where they lean hard past the zombies and make it more of an action sci-fi film than a zombie horror film.
Well, you've also got to think about, like, they were trying to add more things in there without actually explaining. Like, in the first 3 films, you have an explanation for, like, why the zombies are zombies. The Kerberos, because apparently I found out that's how you're actually supposed to say the dogs' names in the zombie dogs in the original Resident Evil was Kerberos, like the original Greek saying, although we say Cerberus. But, like, you get an explanation for all those beings down there, including the liquor, which is the big bad in Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil movie. Then you have an explanation for Nemesis and all the zombies and everything, because all the zombies were let out from the hive, and that's what created the hordes. It's like Resident Evil 3. We have an explanation for the super mutant zombies, because they were infected with the clone's bloods and such, and how Dr. Isaacs got to be how he is. All of a sudden, we have an execution. We have the Majani from Resident Evil 5 and everything. It's like mutations and shit, but they don't tell you how. And the executioner Majani, where the fuck did he come from? The pyramid head of this movie.
That's what I thought at first. Like, again, I haven't gotten to play a lot of the Resident Evil films.
You haven't played the Resident Evil films?
I haven't played I haven't played the last two Resident Evil films. I haven't watched those yet. I can't go back and really correct what I just said. I haven't played the games. So I remember playing 1 and 2, and I think a little bit of Nemesis, but it's so far back in my memory that I can't really latch onto it as something that I can compare anything to, and I certainly have not played 5.
Well, it's like you had Resident Evil 4, the game, which dealt with the Las Plagas virus, or
Right.
Las Plagas is a parasite. And then in Resident Evil 5, we have the Majani, which is the ones that have these like spinning tentacles coming out of their mouth. It's the same thing that is the reason why the dogs all of a sudden split in half,
Okay.
and why Wesker was doing this, and it's all because of something called Ouroboros, and that's in the games. Never explained in the fucking movies.
No.
It's like, and in the movie, in the games, it was not, you weren't dealing with zombies either that had this going on. You were dealing with people who were infected with an actual like parasite thing.
So yeah, when I said Pyramid Head, comparing this executioner zombie to Pyramid Head, it's because I've played the Silent Hill games, like all of them.
See, I haven't played any of those, but I know who Pyramid Head is because I did watch the movie.
And the big problem, and I think this is where we have the disconnect. Are they coming to get the guy that was hacking and coughing on your floor just a few moments ago?
No. I was trying to mute my mic because all of a sudden I heard it. I was like, maybe if I just whoop.
Right? You muted your mic, right? And now it's picking up every ounce of sound around you. Like it takes a second for noise cancellation to kick in, I noticed.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I don't care. I'm just saying. But I think that the problem with the Resident Evil films, only as I've seen them so far, is that if you haven't physically played the games, half this stuff is not explained to the satisfaction of a person that has no frame of reference in the games.
Well, I can only say that up to this one.
Okay.
Like, so they give you explanation and everything for like the first 3 of like how some things are. It's like some of the characters could be a little bit fleshed out, but like as far as where things are going, how they happen, and why, it's like what infection did what. They did great for the first 3 films. This one, like I said, Johnny Executioner, where the fuck did he come from? All the like. Also, let's also get that elephant in the room. They switched actors for Albert Wesker from 3 to 4.
Right?
Because Sean Roberts plays him in 4.
Well, I like this version a little bit better.
Oh, so do I. There's a lot of things I would. Shut up, Piper. Sean Roberts is sexy.
I do. I like Sean Roberts in this. I just don't. He's got the snarky attitude. He's got the attitude down right. It's just, and that's the biggest gripe that I had in the film, is that if you're going to do bullet time stuff, you're not supposed to necessarily slow the actor themselves down to a crawl. Because he's supposed to be able to move at super speed. That's like his thing, basically. So that's his little superpower, is invulnerability and the speed. And this is, mind you, before they did a lot of the recent Flash movies, Flash television show, yada, yada, yada. But that person should be moving at a regular pace while people are slowed down around him, to show that he is moving at a higher rate of speed than they are. When you slow him down to dodge the bullet as well, it makes it look like, okay, well, why is he moving so slowly? He just showed that he can move around, like zip around all over the place, to the point that you lose him in certain points.
I had a complaint, and then you made me forget.
I have a tendency to do that with my long, rambling diatribes. I do that.
It's like, I had it in my head. It's like, oh, fuck, it's slipping. It's gone.
It's like, I think my son explains it as like, sometimes you'll get into something, Dad, and I want to let you talk, but then you talk so much you temporarily put my brain to sleep, and then when I wake up, I forgot what I was going to say. So, maybe you'll remember.
Wait, is that what happened to me?
I have no idea. We were talking about Sean Roberts, and we're talking about Wesker.
Yes, but I had a complaint.
You had a complaint? Well, there's plenty to complain about.
I know what it was. Wentworth Wentworth Miller as Chris Redfield, not believable for me.
That was your complaint? I liked him.
I like him as an actor, and like it's actually that's not my real complaint. Like it's something else to do with him. Well, to do with Chris Redfield. All of a sudden, Chris and Claire are brother and sister in the game series and everything. This is the one place that they reunite after everything that's happened over the years. This is the one place that you reunite. It did not make sense. Like it was not a connection for me.
I mean, blame
Their
the
chemistry
writers.
their chemistry together wasn't even brother and sisterly to me. Like they just didn't. I get it. She's supposed to have amnesia, but even as they go on, like their chemistry is just not there.
Yeah, even the whole side by side, like Boondock Saints shooting of Wesker at the end,
Mm-hmm.
like they didn't feel like they were connected at all. It's like
No, they were
two
just two.
strangers.
They were just two actors who were paid to be there.
Hey, brother. Hey, sister. Let's. Are you sure you're my brother? I don't recognize you.
Also, I got to complain about they like Allie. Where did Claire Redfield find the time to dye her hair more red in this film? Like in the last film, it was like an auburn color, and now it's like a like a darker cherry cola red, and it's like, girl, when did you find time to dye your hair between getting off the plane, getting a thing strapped between your boobs, and then losing your memory?
I like that they let Claire step up as a character in this film, even going so far as to giving her the kill shot
Well,
against
she
the
didn't have the kill
executioner.
shot.
Okay.
She had, but like they could have ended him there, and it would have been amazing.
Yeah, that's right. She had that shot.
From
Lord.
going under him and everything. Like
Now,
her whole action scene is my favorite scene in this movie.
I'm trying to determine: did she just shoot him in the head? Is that what
She
that
shot
was?
him up through the body.
So she
Because
basically
she went under him, like she slid under him on the floor that was wet in the prison shower room and shot up through his body.
So she basically shot him through his big old executioner taint up through the neck.
Yeah. She gave him a
Oh,
hole. She gave him a lot of holes.
holy executioner.
The holy executioner is Claire Redfield.
And then, of course, Alice gets the kill shot. But honestly, the best stuff was from Claire.
Yeah. That whole scene, like, okay, one gripe I had is that you can actually notice, like, when he first brings the axe down, not when he kills the Asian guy. I forgot his character's name. But like when he brings it down and it hits one of the urinals and Alice backs away, you can tell she backs away through the CGI instead of it actually coming down in front of her. Like you can see it full force. I'm like, oh, that wasn't added there greatly. Like that was not added correctly because it's like you can see her whoosh, but like part of the axe is through her or whatever. It's like,
why did we leave that in?
Yeah, but it's like, but when you watch Ali Lauder doing it, it's like it almost looks like he's really there because they actually had to shoot them separately because he's supposed to be this huge guy and he's CGI'd in, and she's supposed to be ducking under that axe every single time. And I'm like, the way like Ali Lauder like did her ducking, you actually thought something was coming at her.
There were a lot of things in here like that dealt with Mila just a little bit. That in the past films, the first 3 films, all of her action sequence were like spot on. But there were a handful of things that she did in this film. The wall run, this weird flip that she did in the beginning of the film, that initial assault that she did. That it was a weird flip that like she was supposed to go halfway over and then kind of come back down, but it hung just a little too long. Like
are you talking about where she has the katana and it's like she flips in the air, then she like brings it around and then goes down?
Right.
Well, it's like you got to think about it, that's part of her like her whole clone power shit. So it wasn't supposed to look flawless. It wasn't supposed to look like that's something a normal human would do.
It doesn't look like something that a person with superpowers or any type of anything would do outside of, oops, I got stuck in the harness. Thank you for pushing me the other way. That's what that looked like.
Fine, she got stuck in the harness then. She's like,
we've tried
whoops, oops.
Look, Mila, we've tried this 12 times. You keep getting stuck halfway through. We're just going to give you a little push and we'll keep going.
Yeah.
How many takes do you get to that janky little move that just didn't work right?
It's like altogether, I thought this movie was solid. Like it's like there was a lot of shit for me to complain about, but a lot of that is because of the way it was shot to be 3D. Like I think that was part of the problem is that they were trying to get on that whole 3D hype. And this, I mean, hell, that was a movie that grossed the highest because it was the first one in 3D.
And honestly, I did not mind a lot of that stuff. Some of that stuff was shot in just such a way that even though I didn't have any of the 3D equipment sitting here with me, it was still entertaining to watch.
The best shot from all that 3D shit was probably like the quarter shot, where like she after she comes down from the roof and like down into the zombies and she shoots it and you see the quarters coming at you type thing.
They debunked that, by the way.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You can't do that. The size of a quarter would not fit in the hole.
No.
Quarter's too big to fit in that hole.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yes, I already knew that one. It's like me and my man checked it out.
Yeah, you checked it out while you tried to go and fit quarters into a shotgun?
No, I was wondering if you could do it, and he was telling me you couldn't, so he actually brought it up on YouTube for me to see.
Like, because I remember, like, I think there's a scene in Young Guns or Young Guns 2 as well that, but I think he uses pennies or nickels or something, not quarters.
Well, pennies would probably be more optimal because quarters might be too heavy. I mean, nickels might be too heavy.
He had like a shotgun. He's like, I'll make you famous, and shoots the guy with like a bunch of change that he slipped into the barrel.
Oh my goodness. What is your favorite scene of this movie?
I thought I already mentioned half of like my favorite scenes in this film.
I was wondering like if any of those like were the top.
This is the first film that I felt that they ended it better. Like, the other films didn't feel like the endings were quite... Like, the first film I liked. Second and third, I didn't really feel the endings were as comfortable as I would have liked to transition into another film.
Yeah.
And this film... Actually, I think I might have seen the fifth film. Because I think it transitions directly from the ending scene of this film into the next film. If I'm not mistaken.
Give me a second. It does.
Yeah.
Because you have Jill coming in on the plane, and then in the next film, that's where it starts. But the funny thing about the next film is like when they do the opening, we'll talk about it then.
I do have to ask, is Kmart really necessary to resurrect in this film?
No. No, unfortunately, Spencer Look was not necessarily needed for anything in this film. It's like she's just that it's like the only reason she's there is because you're like, okay, well, Claire had her survivors, and why would Claire be going after these people if it wasn't for people she knew? So it's like that was the only reason Kmart was there. Like, why would she be worried about anybody who's trapped underground? Sorry, go ahead.
No. You can completely continue to ramble about the pointlessness of Kmart.
I'm done. She's about as pointless as the store is now.
What store? I don't see any of them around here anymore. I know it still exists somewhere.
I think there's, just like one Blockbuster.
Right? Just in the middle of nowhere that I could possibly visit. I also liked the original scene between Wesker and her, where they're escaping in the plane.
That scene makes me question shit.
And he's got the gun on her, and she thanks him. And he's like, thank you for what? Yeah, I'm about to kill you. And she's like, thank you for making me human again.
Yeah, that's the problem with that scene.
Right. She shouldn't have survived that.
There's my point.
So if she was human, yeah, I'm just wondering how much time there was between that scene and
her walking away from the scene.
Basically ending up in the field of airplanes shortly thereafter.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering how much time did she have to recuperate from surviving the plane crash to walking away from the plane crash? Because as a human, we didn't see Wesker at all, and he can regenerate. You are now human, so I mean, was something left over from the T-virus inside you, like as it was dwindling out, that kept you alive? Like, did everything kill your T-virus cells inside your body instantly, or was it one of those things it was going on for a bit, and this is why you survived, is because it was still working on it, but you still had enough to survive the crash.
And if they had the ability to take the T virus out of her,
Why was there no
effectively
cure?
making her human again, why isn't there a cure?
There is a cure.
They're just not distributing it.
There's an antivirus. Remember, Carlos did get an antivirus in Resident Evil Apocalypse.
Right, but even though there's an antivirus, it doesn't necessarily kill the virus completely.
That is true.
They show
because
that it just basically makes it dormant in your blood system for a while.
Well, I mean, that's how Angie was able to walk.
Right.
Because she was infected, but it was kept in check with the antivirus.
What would you say is your least favorite scene in the film?
In Afterlife?
Yes. No, I'm going to ask you about 1, 2, and 3.
Well, let's see. At number 1, it was no, I'm just kidding.
That was loud. Wow.
I'm so sorry.
That was a really loud pop. Okay.
Sorry, my tongue is made of wood. Anyway.
It sounded like a ping pong paddle connecting with another ping pong paddle. It's just...
Which are made out of wood.
Yes.
But
it's wood against wood.
My favorite kind of stuff. My least favorite... yeah, I saw that. My least favorite scene... Tell me yours, because I need to think about this one.
I think I've already talked about my least favorite scene. While I do like the fight scene at the end, there are bits and elements of her meeting up with Wesker at the end that bothered me, including Bennett. Is it Bennett?
Oh my
played
God.
by Kim Coates.
Can we just talk about Kim Coates for a second? That man's amazing.
Okay, first of all, one of my favorite performances in the film is him. He is a slime ball through and through.
Yeah.
But there was one line that he rattled off at the end that made me go, oh, that wasn't necessary. Where he's got the gun to the back of her head and he goes, I'm going to play with your pretty face.
Let's also not forget he played Tig on Sons of Anarchy, and he would do anything with legs. I mean, I think he started a relationship with a trans woman after he's been with plenty of women.
He's just... That's just the one thing that took it out of for me with him. Just
I'm going to enjoy playing. Well, it didn't take it out for me because it's like, okay, he's been infected as a Mahjani now, and that makes sense that he wants to play with her pretty little face because he wants to eat it.
He didn't necessarily get killed off at the end of the film either.
Yes, he did.
It was off screen.
Yes, he was off screen, but he was eaten by Wesker. That's how Wesker regenerated more.
Okay, yeah, because he was talking about devouring Alice, too.
Mm-hmm.
But if Alice is human, then what's the point?
It doesn't matter. They just gotta eat.
Doesn't matter if it's human or something T-virus infected?
Right, because you gotta look at Bennett. He wasn't like the other zombies who had that issue of being a Mahjani. He was a human Mahjani. He was still a human infected by a parasite. He wasn't a human infected by the T-virus. And the thing is like, I can explain that to you, but if you just watch the movies, you wouldn't fucking know. You would just like, it's just T-virus shit.
No, I mean, you're explaining things to me. This is what I'm talking about. You've played the games. I haven't played the games all the way through. So I just know that something's definitely missing here. There's a lot of
stuff missing.
They could have at least done us the favor of having a couple of short exposition dumps just to explain certain things. Or, you know what? Do a Linda Hamilton in T2 where you just have these pointless voiceovers while the film is still continuing on.
I know my 2 least favorite scenes, and it's not because they were bad or anything.
Okay.
The one where Crystal dies after she gets done swimming.
Okay.
And the one where Angel dies because he was shot by Bennett.
Yeah, but that is what solidified Bennett as a complete slime ball. Outside of like him
I know that.
line,
I just didn't like these 2 people who died because like I like Crystal's like hopeful personality against everybody else. Like it's like even as an actress who's dealt with a lot of rejection and all that other shit, it's like she still has some like sliver of hope somewhere. It's like she just had a good personality. Also, when did Alice's personality fucking change? Because she seemed a lot more lighthearted in this one than she has in the first three. You can't even
I
say
have
she didn't.
I have absolutely no idea, because like the first three films, she seemed to have this kind of jaded, melancholy edge to her.
Yeah. And then
And
this one, she's joking around and
yeah, it was
flirting.
weird. It was really weird, which also makes me feel like she's not the original Alice. I don't
But
think
yeah,
she's the
I
original
hated that
Alice.
this character's died, but it's like my favorite actor out of all of these people in this is like, as much as I think Sean Roberts is sexy, I'd actually have to go with Kim Coates.
I'm thinking now, is Kim Coates my favorite? Because I would say he's right up there.
Well, it's like I can't really say
Like,
Sienna Gilroy as Jill because she was only in there for like 30 seconds at the and in the post credits. While I do love that scene for like I love that they brought her in from in her battle suit and long blonde hair from Resident Evil 5 including that thing on her chest, like looked great. I'll have a complaint about that for our next one.
I'm gonna have to give it to Ali Larter in this film. She got to step up in this film. I think it made her a stronger character. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's going to continue as the franchise goes along, but I never, as little as I know about Resident Evil, I never felt like Alice should have been a fully fleshed out character that is basically the hinge for the entire series.
Well, the reason she is it's not just because she became Paul W.S. Anderson's wife. It's also because they needed an original character that can do whatever they wanted to with. Because everybody else, they had to go through Capcom to make sure that they can do such and such. If they kill anybody, whatever, they gotta make sure, you know, is it okay? With Alice, that's their original character. They can do anything that they want with and write her however they want.
So, I'm just going to say this because it needs to be said. We've watched a lot of video game adaptations, and you know as well as I do, the more liberty they take with the original material, the worse some of those things end up being received.
Mm-hmm.
Because people want to see something. That's why like I was kind of half and half about 2, because there's a lot of stuff that pops up that I personally can remember from playing the games.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played the other games, so I don't feel as affected by these other films. I can only judge them on how they are as a film within the franchise, not how they are as a film with the backdrop of having played certain games.
Yeah.
But the problem being is that if you're not providing explanation, you're not providing the things that you need for the people that have loved these games growing up, that love them even now because they're still playing them in the remakes that are coming out,
Hi, people.
the remasters and everything. If you're not trying to cater to them at the very least, and you're deciding, hey, you know what, we want to be able to go shackles free and do whatever we want with this franchise. Let's create a character that has nothing to do with the franchise.
Well,
that way,
technically she does. In your original Resident Evil games, like when there was puzzles and stuff, there was always a connection to some type of fairy tale somewhere.
okay.
This whole thing is Alice in Wonderland. Alice, the Red Queen, the White Queen, and her going through all
Yes.
these different types of things.
Right. I know there's an undertow of Alice in Wonderland,
Mm-hmm.
Or Alice in fucking hell.
Alice in Hellland.
It's actually a good song by Annihilator called Alice in Hell, which again could have used that for the film. I'm sure Annihilator could have used the extra money. Just saying. That being said, 1 through 11 on this film, how would you rate this one?
This one would definitely get a 6.5.
So far, based off of the other films that I've watched, I really loved the original. I was kind of neither here nor there about 2 and 3. This one I'd probably give about a 7.
Yeah.
It's right up there.
I could bump it up to a 7.
Because of this film, I'm not apprehensive about watching the last 2.
I think you'll actually really like the next one.
I was really apprehensive about watching this film based off of having to go through and watch Extinction.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got so distracted watching Extinction. Like, I kept looking away or doing other things, like, because it didn't hold my interest. This film, I sat down, and when people tried to, like, hey, I need you to help me with something, I was like, hey, I'm watching something here. I was not distracted. I didn't want to be distracted.
I honestly think you'll actually like the next film.
I'm hoping. We'll see.
There are some people I love that are back.
Well, obviously, Jill, I did not realize Jill was that character at the end of the film, and you explained it to me, and I was like, oh.
Well, that's another gripe I had about this one, is that
Okay.
the whole reason she's in this battle suit with the thing on her chest in Resident Evil 5, the game, is because of Wesker.
Okay.
And in this, it has no connection.
Oh, all right. So, I mean, we had seen...
Like, we see her at the end, but it has no connection to Wesker.
We had seen that, what it looked like a spider of some sort.
Right, you saw it on Kmart, you saw it on Claire,
right,
and you saw it on Jill's, like, massive breasts at the end. It's like, that's the other thing I like about Cena Gilroy, is like, she looked like she had normal breasts in her tube top and shit. Next thing, she's in this battle suit, and it just looks like her breasts are like the main focal point with that thing in the middle. And I'm just like, whoa.
Why you look like Samus from Metroid? What's going on here?
But yeah, like, that was the last gripe I had about that movie, was because, like, here comes Jill on the plane at the end. My other thing is, they told us Jill was coming back, and I was waiting for I was watching through the whole movie, waiting for it in theaters. I was like, oh yeah, Jill's coming back. Thank the gods. Then she's got that little snippet for 10 seconds at the end, and I'm just like, because they even post her in the credits as Jill before that scene even plays.
Jill is the sneaky little thing at the end of the movie. Now, I wonder how many people walked out before that came up.
As if they were waiting to see Jill in the movie the whole time.
Well, because think about it. Back then...
Oh, well, there wasn't a lot of post-credit things.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of films that had post-credit anything. Like, the only thing that I can personally remember, and I've watched a lot of movies, and I may have to adjust that as I go along, because there's certain movies I've turned off, and maybe there were things there. But the only one I can remember is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where literally at the end of the film, he walks back in, and he goes, wait a minute, you're still here? The movie's over. Why are you still here? Go home. Go.
Well, it's like, I think I went and saw this with my dad, because I think I was still at that age. When did this movie come out?
2010, I believe.
2010?
Yes.
Yeah, this is before I was dating John. So, yeah, it was before I was dating John. I went and saw it with my dad. I was getting my stuff ready. We were waiting because there was people starting to walk in front of us. So it's like, I don't want to sit there and follow the crowd at that moment. Next thing you know, it's like the credits saying who played who goes by. And then it's like, here comes Jill.
Here's the really sad part about this film. That if you go by just the US gross for any of these films, they barely break even. These films did much better outside of the United States than they did in the States.
Well, it's like, I don't know.
Well, like this, I'll just go by this film. This film had a budget of $60 million, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And gross across the US and Canada was just $60.1 million. Right? So they made their money back and basically paid a handful of the theaters to show the stuff in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Once it moved outside of the United States, on the other hand, worldwide, including the US and Canada, they made $300 million on this.
Damn.
So, well over 3 times what, I want to say three times what they made in the States. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because 3 times 60 would be like 180. So
maybe 4 times what they made in the States. So it'd be about 24 million. Then you put 240 million. And then you add the 60 million in, and you got your 300 million. So yeah,
I don't know. You're asking me to math while my bladder's like, hey.
They made 4 times the amount. Hey, look, I did not ask you to drink that big old drink in the middle of this podcast.
I already told you my blood sugar was high before I even drank that drink.
I'm killing you. I've had you here for 2 hours now. So if you take all the films that we've watched so far, we've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4. If you had to eliminate any one of these movies from
Extinction.
the franchise,
This podcast is powered by the pros.
Is it powered by the pros?
apparently, this podcast decided to just start playing for no reason in the background. I did not turn anything on over here.
Y'all, and he bitches about my phone going off when it's actually work.
Look, your phone went off and started doing whatever. I don't know what that was. My podcast, something that I have never watched a day in my life, listened to a day in my life, just started playing on my phone for no reason.
Damn.
I don't know what this is. I don't know what it's attached to. I don't know who started playing it. But just to give a shout out to this podcast, we have somebody called Rushin and Zach. Their podcast called Hit That Line or something to that nature. It's the Rushin and Zach podcast. The episode is Hit That Line. Apparently randomly played for 2 minutes or 2 seconds without me noticing. So
it's
I
also
apologize.
powered by the pros.
Powered by the pros. All right. Well, thank you, Piper, for sitting down and talking to me at length about 3 movies, even though we were only supposed to do 2.
I'm sorry.
It happens. It happens. We eliminated the pitch this time, so we'll just kind of focus on doing some pitches. I want to try to make that a regular thing on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Let's do all the pitches.
Son of a pitch. Anyway, as Nico likes to say so frequently to end the podcast.
Drink some water, you thirsty bitches.
Yeah, and actually, I do need a little bit of water. I am thirsty.
Do you need some water?
Fucking hell, yes, definitely.
You need some